My people, history is being made in West Africa. Burkina Faso has signed a $1.2 billion farming deal with India. Tractors, machines, and technology are about to flood into a nation that for decades was written off as poor and dependent. Some say it is just about farming. Others believe it is the start of a new African era, a bold step toward food security, jobs, and sovereignty. The real question is this: is this deal a turning point, or just another promise that fades away? The news landed like thunder in Ouagadougou. On a hot August morning, cameras filled the government hall. President Ibrahim Traoré stood before the crowd, flanked by Indian diplomats. Then came the words that shook the room. Burkina Faso had signed a $1.2 billion agricultural deal with India. The announcement was followed by cheers, and within hours the news had spread across the country. People filled the streets waving flags, chanting Traoré's name. Social media lit up with pictures of tractors, turned into symbols of strength and freedom. For the people of Burkina Faso, this was more than a contract. It was hope. It was dignity. It was proof that their nation could take bold steps on the global stage. But outside the country, the reactions were mixed. Analysts across Africa and the West were stunned. Burkina Faso, often described as fragile and unstable, had just placed itself at the center of one of the biggest agricultural projects in West Africa's history. Some critics asked why spend so much on tractors when there are so many problems, from insecurity to health. The answer lies in the soil. For decades, farmers in Burkina Faso have worked with hoes, wooden plows, and endless labor under the harsh Sahelian sun. Their resilience is undeniable, but resilience is not prosperity. Families often grew just enough to survive. Hunger and poverty were constant. A tractor changes that reality. What once took weeks can be done in a single day. Planting becomes faster, harvests become more reliable, and storage improves. With machines, Burkina Faso can move from subsistence farming to large-scale food production. It means farmers can grow not only millet and sorghum, but wheat, maize, rice, and even cash crops. The government has already set a target of 6,000 tons of wheat by the 2025 season, a goal that would have been unthinkable without mechanization. But tractors are not only about farming. They create jobs. Each machine needs operators, mechanics, trainers, and suppliers. Spare parts and service centers become small businesses of their own. Whole micro-economies are created around them. For young people, this transforms farming from low-status, backbreaking labor into skilled, respected work with a future. So why would India, thousands of kilometers away, invest so heavily in Burkina Faso? The answer is strategy. Unlike France, which held on through control, or China, which built infrastructure and mined resources, India chose a different path: food. With a population of 1.4 billion, India's own food security is always under pressure. Climate change makes harvests unpredictable, and global grain markets are unstable. By investing in African agriculture, India secures a partner and a reliable food supply. For Burkina Faso, it is about sovereignty. For too long, Africa's development was shaped by Western aid, always tied to conditions. Loans and assistance demanded policy changes, open markets, or allowed foreign corporations to dominate. India's approach feels different. It presents itself as a fellow global South nation, saying, "We rise together." That is why President Traoré declared, "We are no longer beggars. We are partners shaping our own destiny." This deal also carries regional weight. Neighbors like Mali, Niger, and Chad are watching carefully. For years, they depended on costly imports. If Burkina Faso turns into a breadbasket, trade patterns across the Sahel could change. Instead of buying rice and wheat from overseas, the region could rely on its own farmers. That would keep money in Africa rather than sending it abroad. Some governments may feel threatened. Others may be inspired. And there is a bigger global shift. France's influence in the Sahel is collapsing. Russia is stepping in with arms and security support. China is building roads and mines. And now India has arrived through agriculture. Burkina Faso's deal signals that Africa is no longer looking to one single partner. It has choices. But the true measure of this deal will not be seen in headlines or contracts. It will be felt in the lives of ordinary people. Over 70% of Burkina Faso's population depends on farming. For them, this deal cannot remain just numbers on paper. It must mean food on the table, money in their pockets, and jobs for their children. Think of the young people. Every year, thousands leave villages, searching for work in cities or risking their lives to cross deserts and seas toward Europe. Why? Because farming could not sustain them. But with tractors, the story can change. Young men and women can become machine operators, technicians, suppliers, and entrepreneurs. Farming communities can grow stronger, offering not just survival but real livelihoods. This also strengthens food sovereignty. A nation that can feed itself cannot be controlled easily by outsiders. Hunger has always been a weapon. When food must be imported, nations become vulnerable to global prices and foreign politics. Mechanization gives Burkina Faso a chance to break free from that trap. Of course, there are challenges. Machines must be fairly distributed, not captured by elites. Training must reach rural villages. Corruption must be kept in check. Roads, storage, and processing plants must keep up with larger harvests. These questions are real, but for the first time in decades, hope feels stronger than despair. And here is the deeper story. This deal could represent a new African model of development. For too long, Africa was told progress must come through Western aid and foreign corporations. That model kept the continent dependent. But Burkina Faso is showing another way. Equal partnership, South-to-South cooperation, mutual benefit. India gains a food partner. Burkina Faso gains machines, jobs, and dignity. Both sides win. If this works, other African nations will take notice. Mali, Niger, Chad, and beyond may seek similar partnerships. Africa will no longer be forced into one mold. It will choose its partners and its path. This is not only about agriculture. It is about rewriting Africa's story. Burkina Faso is no longer just a country in crisis. It is daring to lead. The tractors that roll into its fields may plow more than soil. They may plow a path toward sovereignty, dignity, and independence. Will this $1.2 billion deal succeed? Will it create a new model for Africa's future? Time will tell, but one thing is certain. The world is watching, and maybe, just maybe, Africa is about to turn the page.